welcome to No Movies in Hell. I'm Chris Geiger.
I'm LaQuas Scott, and today we are reviewing Martin Scorsese's new movie, A Killers of the Flower Moon.
I thought I would like the trailers, of course, right? It's Martin Scorsese. It
Yes.
it just looks great, and the people who are in it, right? You recognize most of them, but Lily Gladstone, I didn't recognize from anything that I had seen before, but she looked great in
Okay.
the trailer, and she was great in the movie.
Yeah, I recognized her from Reservation Dogs. So, a TV show on Hulu about Native American youths, I would say, and as they're like kind of navigating through Oklahoma. So it was good to see her. I think she's in two or three episodes of the series. It's
Okay.
on it just ended its third season, but so I recognized her from that. I knew, of course, I knew like going in, I was going to see this movie and was just curious to see what it was going to be about and how things were framed. And just came away just completely speechless. It is so heartbreaking to watch. And didn't know how like the depth with which you'll get to see the like Osage characters and then kind of the setup with the protagonist and arriving to Oklahoma and you know the things that played out, which is very terrible.
Right. Like I didn't know any of this backstory from a historical perspective before seeing this. I was I was worried because it was over 3 hours long. I think it said 3 hours and 20
Yeah,
some
it's like three
minutes.
and a half hours long.
And yes, so I was worried that at some point I would need to like miss part of it because I had to get up and go to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh, I had the same thought.
But that didn't happen. I was able to like hold it out. And I thought the pacing was really good. The
Yes.
movie was really quiet. It seems like it might
Yes.
be more of an action Western style movie, but while certain things do happen that are action oriented, it's not an action movie. It is a very quiet movie.
Yeah, it's very much like a drama, and I completely agree. I expected a little more action. Um, and maybe it's because it it's just wild to think that like things like this, they're so dark, are just normalized, right? Like things happen. If there's a shooting, it's or something crazy horrific happens, it's not done in a very big spectacular type of way that you see in other films. It's done in a very like, I don't know, like tactical manner, which is even worse because no one really talks about it. No one really, it just happens and then people just move on. And it's like, no, actually, this is not right. And someone has to speak out. And it's yeah, it's incredible piece of work.
In the trailer, it doesn't seem like Leonardo's character is as bad as he is in the movie.
Mm.
And you don't really see him playing really bad guys very often. Like I can't remember the last time I saw him just like a
I think the Wolf of Wall Street, he was the bad guy, but they made him like kind of goofy and kind of dumb. Um, but I feel like he kind of hit his stride with like he's playing like these kind of seedy-ish characters as of late. So,
so
oh
I
wow, we
we
have the
both
same.
gave it the same. I actually thought about giving soundtrack a little bit higher because I felt like the Osage songs were very impactful.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, they're very good. Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like there weren't really any special effects. It was very practical, which I appreciate because coming from a lot of, you know, other films that are out there now, it's very much all special effects. So it looks like there are a lot of crafting care taken and or, just unaware of the special effects that happen with this film. But overall, I thought it was very, 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 very good. Everything from the acting was great. The cinematography was amazing, just trying like rebuilding that whole era. and the costumes and jewelry, like you could really see like what was happening at the time, almost 100 years ago. It just it's very, very poignant and very, very heartbreaking.
When you get a budget like this, where you can get famous actors and you can do things really well.
Hmm.
I read an article about the costume specifically because the wedding costume struck me as really odd. But
Yes,
it,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you saw that. It was in the New York Times, but it was, the costume designer was talking about how she had these old photos and that those hats were really, made in the style of hats that were photographed at weddings. And there was apparently, because the Osage had a good amount of discretionary income, there was a decent amount of footage and photography, like capturing moments in their lives when they were having occasions like weddings and etc.
Hmm.
So they were able to really recreate a lot of that pretty well. Uh, so it
That's
was
amazing.
surprising in the movie, but then when you read more about it, she said the military style coats that they used for the wedding was actually because someone at some point in the military had given a jacket to someone in the tribe and they had just sort of passed it down and they wore it on special occasions. And so that was the symbolism behind that. And then when that one wore out, they made new ones in that same
Mm.
style. That became like their special occasion
Oh wow.
garb. So interesting.
Yeah, that's great.
Do you have any other topics or thoughts around the movie?
Yeah, I mean, even the ending was pretty good. Just the way that it kind of took it out of the element, it kind of brought it almost to current times. Um, but it's yeah, it really, really leaves you thinking and wanting to understand more about what happened and what's going on now too. So yeah. How about you? Do you have any other thoughts?
I feel like it came out at a good time and that a lot of people, not, of course, a lot of people were going to go see it, even if it came out at a time when lots of other movies were coming out. But I think it came out in a really good time because it will funnel a few extra people, I think, to go see it or to maybe see it again.
Yeah.
So even though they weren't able to do a lot of promotion for it, I think
Yeah.
it's still, I don't know how long it's going to be in theaters though, because it is an Apple
Hmm.
funded movie. So
Yeah, so
I know they
December
want
is
to,
when it goes to streaming. The time, right? Because 3.5 hours, it seems like it's long, and like you, I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to make it. And then I just kind of, at the end of the movie, I was like, wow, that actually wasn't bad because of the pacing and in the really great storytelling. Like, not a minute was spared.
yes. There were also a lot of cameos in this, like people who I was like, oh, that person looks familiar.
Hmm.
So I had to look up a couple people afterwards. But yeah, there were a lot of country singers in this, which
Okay.
I don't know why I would recognize that. I don't listen to country music, but I did. I thought it was great. So I highly recommend. Do you have anything to plug in this episode?
Well, I mean, I've been trying to see the Priscilla before before it comes out in the next 2 weeks. Um, so there have been an additional Q&As that I'm like catching up on emails where I'm just like, oh my gosh, I really want to see this movie before it comes out, and I'm like missing every single one of them, but it's okay. Um, looking forward to some more, like I guess we're in Oscar season, so couple more films coming up in the next couple weeks, and hopefully they don't get pushed back because of this, the SAG strike that's happening currently too, for promoting films. What about you? Do you have anything to plug or anything coming up?
I do want to see Anatomy of a Fall. That is
Mhm.
out now, I think. So that's on my list for this weekend. Just getting back into it. I was out of town for a couple weeks, so I just want to kind of get back into my groove. I also recently rejoined a gym post pandemic.
Oh,
So I quit the
oh
gym
my gosh,
during the
that's me
pandemic
too.
and I recently rejoined. So now I have to like schedule that in with movie watching. So what a
Why
terrible
can't they
life
just
I
do
have.
both, right?
Right.
Like,
Right. They did have those gyms for a while that had like the cardio room and then they
mhm.
would show movies. I mean, there were never first run movies, of course, but like it was an interesting era. I don't know of any gyms around here that do that because you need obviously a good amount of space. That's on my list of things to do. Watch more movies, work out more.
Same.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Bye.